Broke.as.node. 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 Broke.as.node.
Oh, Broke.as.node.
Broke.as.node.
Yeah.
Broke.as.node.
Alright, guys, welcome to Broke.as.node episode 3. The episode on Labor Day, right after a very tiring weekend of DragonCon. So this is the DragonCon episode. If you didn't go, or you don't even live in Georgia, then you can hear about it here. At least what we did and stuff we saw. So that's pretty cool. With you, as always, I'm Lucas. To my left, we have
Troy.
Mr. Troy. To my right, and sort of my left as well, because I'm sitting weird, we have
Sam.
Miss Sam. Miss Samantha. I'm going to call you Samantha on the show. I don't care.
Okay.
Does that anger you?
I mean, it doesn't anger me,
Like,
but
you
it
want
is
your
like
image to be Sam, right? Like,
Yeah, I don't-
persona is Sam.
Samantha's more of a personal, intimate.
Okay, I can just call you Brittany then on the show. Brittany's making a comeback. Did y'all see that? Britney Spears, like she's...
It's Brittany, bitch.
Yeah. Well, thanks for our first edit, babe.
No, everybody knows that that's a common thing that Brittany says. Like, that's her theme. Like,
That's
that's
true.
her motto.
That's true. Anyways, to DragonCon.
Starting off with the first day of DragonCon.
Yeah, it was just us three that went on Thursday. Sadly, Jerry didn't get to go. He normally goes with us. He was there the last 2 years with us, and this year he was not, and that was sad. So it was me and Samantha's third DragonCon, Troy's second. We went on Thursday. We got our tickets, because Thursday is not like an official DragonCon day. Like, technically they're doing some things, but like for the most part, everyone shows up on Friday. So we're like, let's do it early so we don't have to stand in line on Friday and we can just go, which was a great decision.
Yes.
And we did see one panel that they had on Thursday, which was the big wrestling panel.
Yeah, didn't know that was a thing, but entertaining nonetheless.
Definitely entertaining. It was like, it wasn't the WWE guys, but they were that style, and they're like local wrestlers. And yeah,
Performers.
They do it every year, apparently. This is their 15th year doing it, they said?
Yeah, really interesting to watch going in not knowing really what's going on. It just says wrestling
So you're
on
like,
the schedule, and you're like, all right,
They
let's
had a
go see what
whole
this is.
Rink up and everything. Like, it
Yeah.
was pretty legit. Someone said one year they had a cage up. It was like a cage match. I was like, oh man, I want to.
So the first match was really entertaining. They had like 4 dudes in there.
That was cool.
And it was hilarious and all things great. The second match we didn't really stay for.
Nah, it got kind of boring.
In the first match, I was rooting for the dude in the blue camo leotard.
Yeah, he didn't make it. Troy was excited to see Blue
Ironically, it was the scrawniest person out of them all
was
wearing a
pretty-
luchador mask.
He was pretty scrawny. But yeah, that was entertaining. We also saw it was kind of like a half fight, but they had Peter versus the chicken.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. That wasn't really a full fight, but
That was more of like an intermission thing.
Yeah, it was like a little 5-minute, here they go thing. But it was funny. We got our laughs out of it. But yeah, so that was cool. And then we went home and we slept to get ready for Friday.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't much going on. There was just wrestling. We got our tickets, which is what we would end there for.
And it was good. So that was
Yeah.
fun. There was a good amount of people there on Thursday, though.
Yeah,
More than I
surprisingly so.
expected.
And a lot of people actually committing to cosplaying on the first day.
Yeah, very surprised
Yeah.
to see the amount of people who actually wore something on Thursday, which isn't even a heavy hitter day out of all
It's
4
like,
days.
yeah, it's probably it's worse than Monday even. But like as far as the amount of people.
Well, because Monday everybody's still doing the walk of shame in their cosplay from the night before.
They're like,
But
it's gonna
now
go over
that DragonCon is so popular, now Thursday is kind of
yeah,
like
I'm
the
kind of
official
hoping
day.
they expand panels on Thursday. They should have a little bit more going on. I think.
Yeah, especially
why
if you're
not?
already going there to get your tickets. Everyone's already getting situated. Maybe have a couple more, but I know if they added more, then it would just become a full-fledged thing, and you'd have to bump up registration for
Yeah.
the people who are wanting to
To
miss all that to
But, I mean, I
Wednesday.
think they're gonna have to. It's growing so much. It might be for their favor. If Thursday was like a full-fledged day, like then Wednesday would be like the new Thursday, and then you wouldn't have as many people.
That's true.
Because if you went like Thursday, Friday, that's like a con experience. You wouldn't really need Saturday. Like I feel like it'd make Friday maybe a little. It'd balance it out better.
The trouble is with them doing that, people would have trouble taking days off for work.
Yeah, but I mean, there's going to be people who just come for 3 days of the con anyways. Like, that's going to happen.
Anyway, enough speculation. Moving on to what we did Friday.
Yeah, the first big day. So we had our passes at that point, and we got lucky. We got to park with my sister, who lives pretty near DragonCon. She lives in Atlanta. And
we also got dropped off.
So yeah, and she dropped us off. So we didn't have to pay for parking. Paying for parking in Atlanta is crazy, and especially around con time. It was like $20 minimum. So we're like, let's not do that. Like a day minimum. So we're like, let's not do that when we parked at the apartment. That was nice. Got dropped off and went straight to the vendors.
Obviously, you always go straight to the vendors Friday because sometimes you mess up and don't get what you wanted on Friday, and then you go and look the next day and it's gone.
Yeah.
That happened to me last year.
Some people sell out of their stuff like on Friday.
Got a good bit of art and all that.
Yeah, Troy spent another $200 on art. You got no room for this art, Troy. Where are you going to put this art?
He'll figure out a way.
You got well over 20 things you don't have up right now because you don't know where to put them.
Well, I mean, there's always room on the ceiling. Technically.
True. If you don't know, if you don't go to cons, they usually, almost every con has a thing called Artist Alley, and it's just where local artists and big national level artists alike set up booths and sell some of their artwork. So a lot of it's fan art, and it's pretty cool stuff.
There was one really cool one that I liked, was a lineup of big anime characters like One Punch Man, Goku,
Did
various...
you buy this one?
Yeah.
Of course.
It was the one where they were in front of the Hall of Justice. It was all destroyed. And it looks like the big anime characters like took on the Justice League.
Oh god.
And I was like forming a story in my head. It's like somehow they broke into the DC universe. They saw how they were dealing with villains, and they're like, this is not how you deal with villains. This is how you deal with villains.
So.
And then Superman and all that disagree with that, and then they get in a big fight in Metropolis.
Right. He's got a whole story.
He's got a whole backstory. That'll be
for
another podcast.
This isn't the only artwork Joy has a backstory for. It's well over 100 stories. He's working on a show. He's writing it.
But so you got art. I ended up getting Tentacle Kitty, which is this cute little plush. It's like a cat head with like tentacles.
Shout out to Tentacle Kitty.
What up? Troy got one too. That was something that I actually saw last year. We were like, oh, well, we'll potentially get it tomorrow. I want to kind of shop around a little bit. We go back the next day, completely sold out. So we learned from last year's mistake and got it this year.
They had it on Saturday this year, I saw.
They did. I think they came a lot more prepared this go around.
Because they were like, oh, God,
slightly disappointed in the vendors this year, but that's because what I'm looking for is oddly specific.
She's looking for a Vulpix plush.
I am.
She couldn't find it.
It's kind of sad. Not a lot of Pokemon stuff.
Surprising they didn't have a lot of Pokemon plushies, considering Go is.
And the ones they had looked more like
bit.
Effed up.
Yeah, well,
like they looked more like the knockoff version. It's like it's not Pokemon, it's Dragonmon.
Well, that's one thing me and Samantha even talked about. There wasn't as much Pokemon Go stuff going on as I had hoped for. Like, it was still a great place to play Pokemon Go. Obviously, we caught a lot of rare things all weekend. But, like, there was only one event, and it wasn't exclusive.
We'll talk about that in a little bit.
We'll get to it, but, like, there wasn't enough. You saw some cosplays and stuff. I don't know. There just should have been more, I feel like. But anyways, so the vendors were cool. We got some good stuff. I didn't buy anything. I saved my money, thankfully, for the next day. Came in handy. And after that, we went to our first panel. Troy tried to go to... I can't remember what Troy went to. Oh, yeah, No, we will talk about Troy today. But we went to Harry Potter and... Genetics, which is that was pretty cool.
The thing I went to was steampunk mashups.
Yeah. You saw a guy from last year that had steampunk Iron Man.
Yeah, we split up. We didn't see Troy for like...
Troy's
3 of the 4 days of DragonCon.
Troy has this thing where we'll just be hanging out. He's like, yeah, well, I gotta go to this panel. And we're like, all right, dude, see ya. And then you won't see Troy for a while. Like, there's... Yeah.
You're like, all right,
just,
well,
that's how he does
Troy's
cons.
gone. Troy's gone.
Right. Troy has, like... He flows with the con, man. He's got his own con flow. And we don't even get in the way of that. We don't even try.
We let Troy do Troy. So me and Lucas stayed together, and Troy generally went off and did his own thing. We had a couple other people join us on Saturday, but we're still on Friday.
But the Harry Potter genetics panel was really cool. It was basically a real... I got his name here, actually. Eric P. Spana from Duke University. Because if he's there next year, I want to... Yeah.
PhD.
In biology. Because he's
really, a geneticist.
Yeah, but he does... Well, he does both. But, they're very related, obviously. But he explained basically the idea of how wizarding is passed down.
How the wizarding gene is passed down, and like actually went through it with real characters in the breakdown and using all the things that we know, quote unquote, evidence.
Yeah.
Very arbitrary. He even admitted it. There's a lot of leeway in things.
Parts of it's but he made it work.
He did. He explained cool. How you get the Muggleborns and the Squibs and all this other good stuff. And then he also broke down into a little bit about, because in the Harry Potter universe, you've got your, people, you've got your beings, you've got your beasts, and beings are beast-like creatures who have intelligence and all that stuff who can do magic, because you've got your Vila, you've got your vampires and all that stuff, all who can do magic, etc., etc. It's this whole thing. It was a great panel, though. It was super cool, really informative, really sciencey at times.
Yeah, it got a little boring at times.
You were like, okay, are we ever going to get to the wizarding stuff? Because if this is just a full-blown science panel, I'm out. I did not pay $130 for this.
A little boring.
But that was really, really cool. We had a lot of fun. It was really interesting. And then after that, we actually stayed in the same hotel.
Yeah, stayed at the Hilton, which was a pretty cool place. It wasn't super packed normally. So it was
the Hilton is probably one of the more low-key of the hotels.
But they have a lot of panels, which is weird that they don't get so packed. But it's always pretty fun at the Hilton. There's still a lot of people, but not like...
You're not having to stand and wait for 5 minutes to push
DragonCon takes
past
place
people.
over 7 hotels, if you don't know, by the way, if you've never been.
So while we went to Harry Potter and Genetics, what did you end up going to, Troy?
This panel was called Steampunk Mashups, and what they were really talking about mostly was how you get steampunk outfits working.
Oh, so how you can make things light up and move and stuff like that.
Basically. And a little bit of it was dedicated to the mashing up, where people would be like, how do you do this character? And they would tell you. And one of the panelists I met there was the one that played on Steampunk Iron Man and that one steampunk play that we went to last year.
That was interesting.
Yeah. That play that had a PowerPoint going on at the same time. You never want to do PowerPoint in a play.
They were like, hey, we don't have enough people. Really Can one of you press the button?
That was interesting.
That was great.
I don't think they had very much rehearsal time.
Probably not. Probably 10 minutes before the panel started.
They kind of vaguely told them what they
were doing. All right, here's a bullet point outline of what we're doing. Just improv it. It's fine.
But the steampunk room's always cool. They have a lot of cool stuff on
So the panel was mainly about costuming, I guess, then, right?
Yeah.
Which you're a steampunk costumer. Well, you're getting into it anyways.
Yeah,
attempting to.
I'm going to slowly get into it, but it requires a lot of buying gears and
wading
such.
Into the pool of steampunk. Because that seems like a pool of money.
And And it also takes a lot of time if you do it by yourself. That Steampunk Iron Man, he said, I believe it took him over 800 hours.
What?
Or, I don't know.
That's crazy.
It was probably maybe less. He said he worked on it for 8 weeks straight.
Wow. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I only worked on my cosplay for about, 3.5 weeks?
But he said he went into full detail, like you saw the costume. Yeah. There was gears on that costume, and it even said Stark Foundries on those gears. He had to make a mold out of that, and he told us the name of the company he got the mold making kit from, but can't remember. But he made that
metal gears on there.
Yeah, dang. And he made that mold that would put Stark Foundries on it.
That's crazy.
And he had these little gas guns that he took, the part that shoots out the gas, and just kept the piston, and that was the piston parts on his arms.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Well, after that, after both those panels were over, we finally met back up with Troy at... It was the same guy from the Harry Potter Genetics thing. We stayed in the same hotel, We went
We just went up a floor.
It was a similar panel. It was like, how does the Force work? It was like actual actual science for Star Wars
and how the Force works.
Yeah, how the Force. That's what I said. But they had him and other people too, and some of the other speakers weren't as entertaining as him. They were a little too maybe technical.
Yeah, because there was a rocket scientist, a marine biologist. Weirdly enough,
yeah, these guys were like super smart, like.
And they had some crazy titles. There was one, I don't even know how to freaking say it. Anthropomologist or something like that.
I'm not going to lie, I wasn't really listening. I was playing Pokemon
you're not a
Go.
Star Wars fan
like
us.
Not nearly as much. I do like the newest Star Wars that came out. But that's besides the fact.
The new Star Wars. It's amazing. But anyways, it was still an entertaining panel, though.
Yeah.
It kind of got boring when they started taking questions from the audience. The audience didn't really have good questions. Like, everyone was like, so you said lightsabers couldn't work because of this, but could they work because of this? And they're like, no, we also said they couldn't work because of that. And that's like how it went. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, they did really hit the major ones that I bet all the audience wanted to ask questions for. They hit Force, they hit lightsabers,
So
they hit light speed.
Yeah, like, you can't talk about much more.
I think they hit one more, but I can't remember. But those were like the major ones that you wanted explanation for.
Yep. But after that, we went and saw the autograph room, which we had never been in. We saw Charlie Cox. We got really close to Charlie Cox.
Got about as close as you can without the police officer being like, hey, what are you doing?
Which he was right there by Charlie Cox, you noticed.
Clearly the biggest name in the entire area, or at least the most current big name.
I stood in line to see how much it was, because the line wasn't that crazy, even for Friday, but it was because it was $60 to get an autograph from him. And I was like, as much as I would love this, and I don't mind paying that for his autograph, because it would have been worth it, because Charlie Cox is the bomb, and Daredevil is an amazing
And also
show.
delightfully British.
And delightfully British. I'd love to just shake his hand. And he seemed like a cool guy. He was interacting with everyone, like, pretty cool.
As much as he could, without his handler being like, okay, we've got to keep it moving.
He'd had, like, a good, like, 2-minute conversation with each person. Like, he made it worth it for him. But it was too much for me. I was like, I'm going to save money for beer.
DragonCon priorities. Also in that room, some names that you guys might not recognize, but I do.
The NSYNC guys?
The two guys from NSYNC, one whose name I don't know, and Joey Fatone.
He was like
he was
really
just chilling with his fans. He was just
They
like,
just
all
had,
right,
like,
I'll
a
sit and
circle
talk to you
around
for
him.
like
Just-
15 minutes.
Yeah, that's great.
Rose McIver from iZombie on the CW was there, and same with Ali Michelka, who's on the same show, who also was on Disney Channel, Phil of the Future.
Hey, what?
Yeah.
Who's she in Phil of the Future?
Keely.
What?
It was that girl.
That's awesome.
You had Lindsay Morgan from The 100 there, and you also had Eliza Dushku, who was in Bring It On, Dollhouse, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and most recently Banshee. She was the dark-haired brunette to Kirsten Dunst's blonde in Bring It On. That's what she's most notably known for. I watched Dollhouse. It was okay. Bob Morley from also yeah. It ended weird because it clearly got cut off really quickly.
Right.
It didn't get refunded. Bob Morley was also there.
Bob Marley, what? From the dead?
No, right, he's back. Bob Morley from The 100 was also there. I didn't see him. He wasn't in his booth. It said, we'll be back tomorrow, because we weren't really planning on going into the autograph room.
Yeah.
Among other famous people there, Gillian Anderson, Scully from The X-Files was there.
Yes.
A lot of big names were there.
She would have, man, I have season 1 on DVD too. That would have been cool to get signed.
That would have been awesome. But she wasn't in the room at the time. It was, again, be back tomorrow.
It probably would have been $60 too for that.
Easily. Like, some of the booths had, like,
huge.
you, even for, like, a selfie on your camera phone, it was, like, $20.
Yeah, it was.
You had a couple people from S.H.I.E.L.D. who were there, and then a lot of other, like, weirdly obscure stuff that I didn't recognize at all, but, like, other people.
With DragonCon, it gets, like, big people, super small people, and everything in between.
It's
I
great.
noticed there was a couple for Legends of Tomorrow.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes,
yeah.
there was a couple,
They
but
did a panel. The Legends of Tomorrow panel.
But Friday, I don't think was such a heavy hitter day for those types of people. Like, a lot of them had booths, but it was
Saturday.
weird. It was weird timing.
Right.
Either that or they
Charlie
had.
Cox was like in the morning on both days.
Yeah, which
He was
I mean,
mainly there to sign, it seemed.
Which is interesting, but it's like, okay, well, how much of that is just based around his current like filming schedule and stuff like that of stuff he's got to do.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're gearing up for season 3.
So that was cool.
But yeah, as you can tell, Atlanta at DragonCon gets a lot of TV stars. I think especially
CW.
Well, yeah, but we're at TV. There's so many channels based in Atlanta, and we're becoming more of a film capital of the U.S. Not the capital, obviously, but a lot of our stuff is TV. You know, we got Walking Dead, we got all these shows.
Yeah, I was surprised to see not that many stars from The Walking Dead there.
Yeah,
because it is based out of Atlanta.
You'd kind of expect like every year to get some Walking Dead folks.
But not really.
You don't really, but yeah, it's weird.
Well, then again, the little one's in school.
Donald Glover has a show coming out. I wonder if we'll get Donald Glover next year.
That would be cool.
I would pay some money for that autograph.
So after the autograph room, we went to...
Oh, right after that, we went to... the Geek Mingle. With Troy,
God.
With Troy, our bachelor, in mind, me and Sam decided that we would pretend to be single so we could support him. And we all went to the Geek Mingle.
It was
interesting.
Definitely interesting.
They wanted to do a little game where you get a name tag put on your back. So you gotta show your back to the person that you're gonna talk to, and then you ask those yes
Which
and
is
no
really
questions.
just an excuse for them to look at your butt. I mean, if we're being really honest.
Definitely.
It's like, oh, who am I? And they're like, huh? What? Yeah. Okay, let's play.
But I didn't have too much luck with it.
Okay, to be fair, the statistics of DragonCon is probably 5 dudes to every 1 girl.
It was probably about 35% girls in this room. It was not...
Just at DragonCon in general, it's not hugely female.
Right, but this room specifically, about 30-35% female. So, and they didn't do really any LGBT-friendly, stuff, which they should have said, oh, by the way, maybe hey, if you're bi or
because they haven't
have the room,
or even have the different colors around the name tags because you can do
that's true. You can get a name tag if you're bi or gay.
There was one girl I was walking behind her and it said pre-bi. Well, no,
was that a term?
No, pre-sexual.
Pansexual?
Pansexual.
Yeah.
Pre-sexual.
Which is what Deadpool is.
Deadpool is pansexual. It has been confirmed. Everyone knows that.
Talked about it in the comics.
They've talked about it in the comics, and
he's mentioned it, right?
Yeah, and also the directors have said too. But that's a whole other story.
But anyways, and you'll get a lot of those. So they should have had some color coding. You could literally have a color for each one.
For each one.
They have their own colors. It's a thing. But anyways, that aside.
When I started my first girl I talked to, in the end, we did have a long conversation, but in the end, we both said our ages. I'm 27, and she said 16.
So Troy's bye.
So Troy, as rightfully as he should, ran the opposite direction as fast as he could. Nice to meet you, but I'm going to go this way.
She did look like she could be 18 to 21.
Okay, that is also a big, huge thing with the cons. I feel like if you are underage, you need to wear a bracelet.
That should have been... No, that panel specifically should have been 18 and up.
Yeah, you shouldn't be at a mixer if you're 16 or younger.
Yeah, that's asking for trouble.
I just think in general, a lot of the things, if you had to purchase a wristband or wear it the whole weekend, or even just showing something that says, that you're a minor.
Right.
This way, they check IDs for panels anyway. It would make it a lot easier. You just glance to see if somebody has a bracelet.
Yeah. That's true.
And make it one of those things where you literally can't take it off unless you cut it off.
Or at least if you're over 18, maybe wear a bracelet.
That
could help with the alcohol sales too. If you're over 21, you can get that. I mean, that's what they do at a lot of festivals. You just get.
Anyway, so that was your first thing. As a female, one of the, maybe 20 in the room, it was definitely an interesting experience.
You had fun. You talked to a lot of people.
I'm not gonna lie,
DragonCon,
right? We'll get to that story in a minute. DragonCon is an interesting experience because I don't really doubt my own attractiveness level. Because statistically, there's going to be somebody who finds me attractive.
Yeah, you had some people talking to you. I was not jealous as a boyfriend. I let her do it. I let her have her fun.
I think you were having fun watching me.
It was pretty I was making sure these guys weren't getting creepy.
In this room, they didn't set it up very well. they had a bunch of chairs everywhere, which I didn't like. Like,
that was
so
not
coming
good.
in and sitting down, or like whatever,
tables.
there should be tables, or just big open space. Have a stand for like 5 minutes while you're explaining your
Most
online
of the
dating
mingling
thing.
was going on in the center aisle.
Yeah, and
you
you're like
couldn't
having to
hardly
weave
get
between
anywhere.
There's so
things.
many people there. It filled up.
It did, and so as a female, I just kind of stood there. I didn't really have to go up to anybody.
I had just as bad luck as Troy. I talked to like 2 girls, but they were nice.
But you were being the guy that was having fun with it and trying to be gay with
I
all the
tried to
guys.
get with you guys, and they kind of went around. Directly after that, I went up to a guy and I was like, "Hey, dude, can you look at my dab?" And then I dab, and then he looked, because I had a Team Instinct pin on at this point. So like me and Sam are very proudly Team Instinct. So we're very proudly Team Instinct at these cons. And so I was like, "Hey, dude, can you look at my dab?" And I dabbed, and he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Hey, can you look at my dab?" And he's like, "Dude, I don't know what that is."
He got weirdly angry.
And he just like stormed off.
But for this room, it was interesting because, like, some dude, I mean, I'll give him props. He came right up to me. He spotted me across the room because I watched this dude and came right up to me.
Eyes and fell in love.
I mean, maybe.
Oh.
But, like, because then, he was getting, like, weirdly close to me, and, like, I was also getting slightly uncomfortable, and I was just totally done with the game because I kept on getting freaking Star Trek every time, which I know nothing about. Nothing about.
Yeah,
Star Trek at these
that
things.
was another thing that they went wrong with that mixer. They had very obscure
Right? Like,
people.
weirdly obscure.
You need to do people that are common, like
if
the
you're gonna
ones
do
that
Star
are in the
Trek,
movies.
Data, Captain Kirk, Spock, Uhura, and Jayla. The end. And those are like old and new. But anyway, so this dude kept talking to me, and I was like, all right, well, I gotta go check on my friend. That's really what I'm here for. And like walked away. And then he proceeded to watch me the whole time. And the next dude after that kept getting like creepily close to me. So then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go. Yeah. And the hosts, whenever you went up to go get in a new thing, were weirdly aggressive about trying to push you towards people who had just gotten theirs done. Like, the host was like, oh, like, talk to this guy, who, by the way, looked like to be easily in his 40s.
Jesus.
And I really want to be like...
Probably not.
I really want to be like, girl, like, help a sister out. Because clearly, like, this dude, no.
Yeah, they gotta be a little more,
They just need
they
to,
gotta
like...
be a little better about that.
Yeah, like, they checked them trying to, like, push me onto, like, this circle of dudes.
It
who's
shouldn't
just,
be
like...
aggressive. It shouldn't be
Yeah,
an
no,
aggressive
that's the
environment.
thing I only didn't like about it. As a girl...
Scare girls away.
As a girl, having all these dudes immediately rush up towards you is a little
Last thing.
off-putting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's a little
imagine.
uncomfortable. It kind of feels like you're like a guppy surrounded by sharks.
That's why I felt bad going up to girls, because I'm like, this is like, I'm the 10th guy, I was just like...
Yeah, but this one dude, he was just like, oh, because I was wearing a Gotta Catch 'Em All shirt, which, by the way, a lot of dudes used as an excuse to look at my boobs, whatever. And they're like, oh, what team are you? And I was like, what team are you? And they're like, oh, Team Valor all the way. And
Out.
And I was like, I literally don't F with anyone from my team. Bye. And just bounced. But then I came in and I wing-womaned for Troy, so tell about that, Troy.
Yeah, and the second girl ended up coming up to, like, 3 of us. It was like me and 2 other guys was like walking down an aisle, and she comes up to us and starts talking to all 3 of us at the same time, doing the guessing game with the tags on the back. And then I did a little small talk saying what you were interested in and all that, and we were just going back and forth. Luckily, it was just then 2 of us talking to her, because Sam was...
I came in and I took a dude.
Yeah.
I saw that Troy was outnumbered and this dude was really aggressive in talking to her, so I swooped in, talked to Troy for a minute, and then pulled out the charm and easily distracted him. So, fun fact, when you put your fingers near your mouth near any sort of nerd boy, their eyes automatically go to that and they start staring and they lose all concentration. It's really fun. So I jumped on that grenade.
Didn't work with me when I did it.
Yeah, not nearly as effective if you don't have
I really
boobs.
wanted to flirt with gay guys. I was looking forward to that, and it never happened. And I tried.
Again, need more like wristbands or something to color code that. But
Either that or have a separate mingle for like the LGBT community.
Yeah, which that would have been fun.
I mean, I would have felt a little bit bad about going into that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Because we're not, actually. But,
But,
Whatever.
But I still would flirt with a gay guy. I don't feel like that's... Can I go in as a straight guy and say, listen, I'm straight, but I like to flirt. Come at me, bro.
Maybe not say come at me.
Come at me hard, bros.
Anyway, so
it was fun.
yeah, Troy's talking to this girl and continue on, and
And she had to go soon. She was like meeting her friend.
Yeah, she had to go meet her friends because she was from out of town. She was from, I think, Indiana. So shout out if you're listening to this. You know who you are.
And then you ran into her in the bathroom.
Yeah, I ran into her in the bathroom because I saw her go that way, and I needed to pee anyway. Coms, you drink a lot of stuff, like bladder, small. I'm a small person, whatever. So I ran into her in the bathroom, and we were washing our hands. I was like, oh, hey! And I was like, oh, are you washing your hands from all those mouth breathers? And, she giggled at that, and she was like, yeah. It was really interesting seeing as it's full of dudes in there. And I was like, yeah, not that many girls. Us girls got to stick together. And she's like... And I talked about how, they really should have something, like, regarding everyone's sexuality, because you don't know what everybody's in there for. That's just assuming that everybody's straight. And she goes, yeah, especially seeing as I like girls. And I was like, oh, this makes a lot more sense why she was so talkative with me.
And
okay.
And after you, said that to us, I was like, then why did she walk up to three guys and start doing the guessing game and talking?
Maybe she is. Maybe she wasn't.
She's really sick.
She didn't say... She just said that she wasn't really out with everything just yet. So who knows? But I just thought that was kind of funny.
So yeah, my first try, I got a 16-year-old and a girl that's probably just lesbian.
Just for law reasons, but...
Troy didn't put his hands on her at all. He was just talking.
Troy would never touch a girl.
No.
Well,
for clarification...
He got out.
He found out what her age was and walked the other way.
Yeah. My first try.
Because Troy doesn't feel like going to jail, and also that's really creepy.
Yeah.
Should have been 18 and up, I'll say.
And then the second one ended up being a lesbian, so...
maybe not, but definitely was not there for dudes. That is for a fact.
All in all, still fun.
It's still funny, fun to tell stories about. Definitely, maybe we go next year. Who knows?
We're going next year.
I just think it'd be...
No, but we're going.
You're going to go, Troy.
We're going every year.
One of these years, you're going to find your wife, your second wife anyway. But a lot of fun. Definitely aggressively sausage filled.
Yeah, so maybe it won't be 1 year in 20 years, but we'll see. Anyways, after that we met up with Sir Colin.
Yeah, I have a old college friend, Colin. He's awesome, and this was actually his first DragonCon, and he purchased a ticket. He said he was going to go with family, and then his family bailed on him. So he came and hung out with us, and it was getting later at night at this point, so we started to have fun.
We pool party.
Yeah, but before that, we tried to go to this superstition party.
Yeah, no, it was the cult. It was superstition, the cult in Victorian English. We're like, yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, we were like, oh, yes,
but it was filled up, so we saw Klingon karaoke across the hall.
It was called Klingon karaoke, but they were singing in English.
Yeah, it was just karaoke.
Kind of
it was literally
disappointed in that.
It was karaoke in the Star Trek.
I was wanting at least one big old Trekkie go up on the stage and start singing in Klingon.
That's what you were hoping for.
Shoot, I'm just going to go up there and sing in my own language, but
Troy's just going to go up there, belt it out.
We hung out there for 5 minutes, then went to that pool party.
Yeah. Mainly we hung out there so we could sit down because our feet kind of hurt at this point.
But I got in the pool. No one else did, but
no, Colin did too.
Yeah, Colin did. Colin got in his pants, which was
in his jeans, which
the rest of the night. That was.
Nobody likes wet jean chub rub. That's not.
But I was like, screw it! I got down in my underwear and just jumped on in.
Because at DragonCon, no one cares.
Nobody cares. It's cool.
We got to watch Colin get molested.
By that one lady. And then, I got my butt grabbed by gay Harley Quinn.
Oh, solid. I'm cool with it.
He didn't say he's gay. He's probably gay, but not to judge too hard. But maybe straight. But
maybe straight.
He grabbed my ass pretty hard. So
he's cute. In his defense, it is.
But I got
cute.
a picture with gay Harley Quinn, so that was great.
I did too. We were butt bumping. It's awesome.
That was good.
But our friend Colin got molested by some lady because she was clearly drunk.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, don't put those clothes on, baby. I like looking at you." And so then she wanted to take a picture with him, and he agreed to it.
Like, yeah.
And so he's shirtless.
The picture was my idea. I screamed at her, "Take a picture with him."
Okay, in his defense, a little drunk. You were.
No, I don't drink.
Oh, you don't drink at all. Oh, okay.
And then she just went from thigh all the way up to crotch. And
she just did a big wave. It was pecs onto abs, onto crotch, onto butt, just all over him. And she was just snuggling into him. And Did you see that she started to try and play with his nipples? Did anyone else catch that, or was that just
Really?
me? Yeah, no. She started, and he's like, "Okay,
All right,
we're done."
This is where we.
Although he could have easily made some money. She was that drunk where I feel like if he started just like shaking his butt at her, he would have made some money.
That might have happened.
So that's the story of how our friend Colin got molested.
So that was fun. After that, we went to the zombie prom, which every night at DragonCon, there's like usually a dance going on, kind of more of a party environment than the pool party even.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool. And we didn't have to stand in line for that, so we just got to walk in, and it was pretty fun. We didn't stay too long. Troy tried to go to the hentai panel.
Well, at this point, I was really buzzed, and I got fed up with the zombie prom because I'm not much of a party person. Usually 5 minutes of that party-like environment, and I'm like, I'm done. I had my fill. But what was cool there was a girl in the back who was cosplaying that girl from Atlantis. What was her name? Keita.
Yeah.
She had this light up streamer stuff, and she was dancing.
She had
like
chiffon panels that she had weaved in Christmas or fairy lights into.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
You always see, that's the cool thing about con parties like this, dances like this, is like you get to like go out and party with Deadpool, like, and you know, it's cool. Like, everyone's dressed up, so it's fun.
Well, you get to see cool things.
Yeah.
Later on, there was an X-Men Deadpool that went up to that Keita and was pointing at the dance floor and was edging her along.
I think that's one of the cool things about like doing cosplay at night is you see so many people, serious cosplayers, obviously, who've easily changed outfits throughout the day, get ingenious with stuff because they know they're going to party. So you see where like seamstress and like working with fabric turns into creativity with electronics by things lighting up and moving and all these different things. People get really creative with it because we saw several cosplays that lit up, like they had weaved LED lights, very clearly the fairy lights, reflectors, neon panels, stuff like that.
And there was a cool with a dude with a dead Mo mask on. Dead Mo.
Oh yeah.
The mouse mask that lit up.
Yeah, dead mouse.
Cool.
And everybody was like going up to him and started dancing.
Well, what was it like inside? Was he just seeing like bright lights? Like, I feel like that.
Who knows? That's a question we'll have to ask one of these days.
But it was cool. So
we had fun.
Troy didn't get into the hentai panel. He tried.
I went over there.
He didn't get in, quote unquote.
The line for that. It was
just a bunch of dudes jerking it in a
small
room.
room in the corner of the Hyatt.
I wonder why.
And it's that one in the very small corner where there's not enough for a line along the wall. They have to go outside, and that was probably... It was all the way down that wall and probably down the wall.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That line that like extends onto the sidewalk.
Oh, yeah. But I think it's going into the Imperial Ball. You probably could have gotten in. That room is big. That's where we saw the kilt blowing, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, that's...
We won't talk about that.
No, it was a small room. I know it probably only held like maybe 100 people.
Oh, wow, that is small.
And I'm like, wow, that was the wrong room to put that in there.
But after that, we went home. It was like 12:30 at that point, so we were like, yeah, we're tired.
Kind of an early-ish night, but not that bad, seeing as we were going to be going for the next 2 days.
We got to stay in Atlanta that night, so that was nice. Being able to, for free, especially.
Free, we got picked up, too.
Yeah.
So shout out to Haley.
Shout out to my sister Haley. You're the best. We love you.
Yeah.
But anyways, the next day, I wake up at like 9 or something to do something. I can't even remember. And Troy's like ready to go, and my sisters and my little cousin Charlie's there. He was there just for Saturday, and that was the only day they were going. And they're like, "We're going," and they're going to get their passes. They want to get there early so they could see the parade.
And I was there.
Troy's just like, "I'm ready to go."
I was in my Roy Mustang cosplay, and I went with them, and that was the start of my 16-hour.
16-hour didn't eat food except for one meal day, which we're still giving him shit for.
We didn't see Troy all day. I saw him at 9:30, didn't see him again until 2 a.m. I saw him at 9:30 a.m., didn't see him until 2 a.m. He was gone. But we thought he was dead. But is Troy alive? I don't know. So that happened. Me and you get there, babe. What, 11:30?
Well, yeah, because I actually cosplayed for the first time.
Yeah, awesome cosplay.
I was Batwoman from the DC Bombshells comic series. So that
Made your own.
Made my
cosplay.
own. It's completely custom to me. Shout out to my mom, who I'm going to create an Etsy for.
Did make it.
Careless Craft Creations. You want the best? We provide it. Coming to you soon. So she did awesome, seeing as I only gave her maybe like a month, because I'm terrible about that. The flashbacks to days of being in school. Hey, Mom, I need this in like a week. What? Anyway, so she did a really good job on that. The only details that I was missing from mine was having the gloves and having the black and red tube socks. Now I had black knee socks.
And having the signature.
And having the signature on the back.
Which I kept telling you to do. But you
which I feel like
to.
you shouldn't say anything, seeing as you didn't cosplay at all.
Well, no, I'm your cosplay advisor. That's why I decided
okay.
to do. Instead of making my own cosplay, I advised on yours because that takes a lot of work. And you have to, you have to be there. And it made yours.
So the cool thing about my cosplay is it is pretty much exact to what she wears in the comics. So I had made a mask, and I had to cut it to fit my face because I have freakishly large eyes. And I ended up not wearing it. It's so hot here in Georgia, even though it was a cool day too compared
Saturday
to last
was
year.
Weirdly cool. It was like in the low 80s.
Low 80s, kind of overcast, which was great, seeing as I was wearing an all black outfit. Not the best idea, but whatever. So that was the day I actually cosplayed, because I had wanted to cosplay last year, didn't have the time or money, and so I cosplayed this year. And I got stopped for a couple of pictures, but not nearly as many as I would have thought.
I feel like it's just DragonCon's not really a huge comic book con.
It's not.
We don't have one in Georgia.
It's no Comic Con.
No, right.
But it was still great. I still got a couple of pictures. I heard, and Haley heard, a lot of people comment about my outfit who didn't actually stop me. I would have been fine with people stopping me, except for that one dude. So we were on a street corner, which gets really, really heavy in traffic.
Crazy heavy in traffic.
Like, you can't go either way. People are pushing and shoving. And he's like, hey, can I take a picture with you? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. Like, let's just get out of the way. And he was like, nah, okay, bye. All right, bro.
It was like he wanted to hold up traffic. Like,
it was,
people would have been yelling at us. Like,
it was weird, but that's why we ended up actually going a little bit later, because I was up at the same time that you were with Troy and all them, mainly because people were loud.
I was like, no.
I was awake, and so I started getting ready.
No, thank you.
I actually personally dyed my hair for this con, so there's that.
Yeah, she went redhead. So that was fun. And then what was the first thing we saw? We walked around, tried to find Tony, your friend.
Yeah, my friend Tony. He had actually been with his sister selling stuff at DragonCon. Not super legally, but that's a whole other thing. But he had actually never been inside DragonCon, so I told him to come, and I would pay for his pass.
He was going to come today to this podcast,
but he's got a date.
He's got a date.
So, luckily later, if you're out there, hopefully this was worth it. So we ended up trying to look for him. But
he's in line for a ticket.
Line for ticket, especially on Saturday.
We were smart about doing the Thursday thing. We didn't stand in any line.
Saturday is such a heavy hitter day. If you can, pre-register. It's smarter.
Yeah,
it's a lot smarter. And then we ended up actually going and getting food first, because by this point it's like noon, and we couldn't.
We were hungry.
Yeah, I was hungry. He was hungry.
My cousin Charlie.
And your two sisters, Candace and Haley.
They had been watching the parade. That's all they did. They had done up to that point. Was just the parade was like 2 hours long. Mm-hmm. So I was like, that's crazy. But it was Charlie. He's 12. His first con, so he was like loving it.
He was having the time of his life.
And then we went to the weird. We were like, okay, let's go to a panel. So we're trying to waste time. So we go to that weird sci-fi, feminism and sci-fi panel.
Yeah, which kind of sucked.
It just sucked because it was just, there was no theme. Like, they just kept talking about all great female icons in sci-fi, but that's so large and expansive.
It's so broad.
We hardly knew anything they were talking about. And they talked about Star Trek a lot.
Yeah.
Like, no one here's a Trekkie, yo. Like, I don't know. They didn't talk about Star Wars at all.
Except for, like, an honorable
like,
mention.
oh, yeah, Leia's great. That was it. They were like, hello.
I'm pretty sure, didn't we end up ditching out of there pretty early?
Yeah, we were in there for, like, we waited for Tony. We were waiting for Tony and us there. And we were in there for, like...
He actually cosplayed. He was Scruffy the janitor from Futurama.
He got
a lot more pictures than I
did. He spent a good 10 minutes on his cosplay.
Go figure. So while we were doing that, what were you doing, Troy?
Well, no, we'll get to Troy later. Troy's just going to go.
Troy's just going to have his own section? That's true. Mr. I'm going to marathon.
Because at this point in the day, we don't know what happened to Troy. He's not answering our texts. He's not texting us. He's just like...
He's just doing whatever Troy does.
Dead? We don't know. Is his phone dead? We don't know. So we're like, hopefully we'll find him.
Is Troy in the middle of a weird orgy?
We're not sure. You never know with Troy. So anyways, then it was like, okay, we knew Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti were going to be at DragonCon.
So
and we were there last year and they signed.
Yes.
So we're like, let's go. And at this point, all we knew about them was they were doing a panel. And we found
Making Haha with Harley Quinn.
Yeah. Like,
which is apparently an allusion to, according to some dude who clearly knew everything, an allusion to something from her episode in 1992 or something in that nature.
I think it was like, I don't know if it was her episode. It was like from the show or...
We have no clue. This dude clearly, Mr. Wikipedia, as he will be henceforth known as, knew everything.
But before that, we wanted to buy comics.
Yes,
so we could get signed.
Yeah, the day before Friday, I had seen in a couple of vendors, because I'm able to move through there pretty fast based on my size, that some booths had Harley Quinn comics. So last year, we kind of messed up. They said they weren't signing. Specifically, it said in their little thing, the information panel, that they weren't signing last year. And they ended up actually signing. And we didn't bring any comics, nothing.
Well, I don't know if it said anything.
No, remember...
in the autograph room.
Well, remember the year before, it said in their thing, no autographs.
I don't remember that.
I remember because I was like, oh, man. And then we get there, and they were signing things. So we wanted to go and find comics to buy there because we didn't bring any.
We didn't know Amanda Connor was...
Yeah, it just said Jimmy Palmiotti.
For the longest time, and then like the day before DragonCon, they changed it. Oh yeah, by the way, Amanda Connor's also going to be there. Because we figured, we're like, really? They're going to travel?
I mean, they're a husband and wife team. They work on the same things. I mean, they have their own separate projects, but they majority-wise work together, so it just makes sense. If he's going to be there, she's going to be there unless there's some sort of conflict, probably.
Anyways, we were able to get Harley Quinn #1 of the
Rebirth signed.
The DC's doing their new Rebirth, everything's starting over. And so we got that, which is by them, obviously, and yeah, the panel went amazing. They're as hilarious and nice and awesome as always.
It's nice to know that even though their popularity has grown in size since last year that we saw them, because last year the room didn't even fill up a fourth of the way, the room that they were given. This year they had to turn away people because the room was packed. Full. So it's nice to know that they are still the same genuine people who are more than willing to sit there and entertain your thoughts, theories, questions, comments, all of it. And they're still just as passionate about the project that they've been working on for almost 2 years now.
I think 2.5 years.
2.5, almost 3 years now. They're still just as passionate, if not more so.
Yeah, they love working with Harley.
Like Amanda said, that she's just this fun character, and there's no rules when it comes to
her. Deadpool. And they made that connection. They're not shy about that connection. They're like, yeah, we know.
I mean, they ship it.
Deadpool. We're the DC Deadpool.
They ship it.
Oh, they'd ship it all day. They even said, they're like, listen, if Marvel was like, hey, do y'all want to do this? We're going to say yes in a heartbeat if DC agrees. Like, we just can't.
I mean, unfortunately, that will probably never happen. Unless there was like a huge petition.
The stupid ass rivalry between DC and Marvel.
Unnecessary.
DC and Marvel used to team up. The problem is now it's between
Warner Brothers
and Disney. That's the problem.
The freaking side sponsors.
They own them. You know, Warner Brothers owns DC, Disney owns Marvel, so they're just like.
Anyway, the cool part about this panel is Lucas's two sisters and his cousin, who is a Harley Quinn fan, thanks to my doing.
I got him into comics. She got him into Harley Quinn specifically.
And he's been a fan ever since.
He's a huge fan of that comic.
A year ago is when we got it into him?
Yeah. And so he has all the graphic novels. He reads them as soon as they come out. He loves Harley Quinn.
He just loves her.
And so it was great. We got to buy him a comic. He got to get it signed. While we were in line, we find out not only are they here at a panel, but they have their own booth at Artist Alley.
Yeah, we didn't even see that, which we don't even know if they were set up for Friday at all.
That's true. We have no idea.
They could have just not.
They might have got their own Saturday.
So we see in line this dude. He has a picture of what I assume his girlfriend were cosplaying as. It's a little known comic. It's one of the holographic ones. It's a one shot where Harley and Future's End, Harley and Deadpool, not Deadpool. Ooh, excuse me. Harley and Joker get married. She's wearing a wedding dress, and this dude is dressed up in a Joker suit.
But then it changes.
It changes if you look at it, and it's them trying to kill each other. Which, go figure. But they're cosplaying, and we see this in his hand, and it's something I was like, where did you find that? Because it's very clearly their artwork. I can spot their style from like a mile away, and he's like, they have a booth. And then he was like, yeah, and they're signing too. So I say immediately, buy. And
she just goes, And Charlie follows her and was like, Charlie, wait, here's $20. I was like, I was buying one.
So I got one of their Valentine's Day cover specials signed where Harley has Batman tied up and she's got lipstick kiss marks all over him. And Charlie also got a cover, but it's not a Valentine's Day special. It's just an original cover where Harley is being handcuffed and she's winking at the viewer. Maybe not the most appropriate thing for a 12-year-old, but he's not my cousin, so I let him do it. So, I mean, he's not my cousin. And you guys left me in charge of him, so,
We didn't want to lose our spot in line.
That's true. I just chucked them my stuff and ran.
She just kind of took off. But it was awesome.
It was awesome. They were so nice, and we got the comic signed and got a picture.
Because they did sign after their panel,
They did. They're always really nice about the signing. We have a little story about that for Sunday. And Amanda Connor, I will say, she said she liked my cosplay. They clearly recognized who I was, and they said that they liked it. Speaking of cosplays, we learned from them that Gang of Harleys was inspired by cosplays.
Yeah, they go out to these cons, they see all these great Harley cosplays, because you see a lot of them. She's the second most popular. The most popular being Deadpool. I think that was pretty this weekend. Because at first we were seeing more Harleys, and then... Well, we'll talk about what happened.
Yeah.
Let's just say we were at about 100 Harleys, and then something happened, and Deadpool...
Deadpool went out.
The anti-heroes are on the rise.
They are, because they're so relatable. There's light and dark in all of us.
Yeah, exactly.
It's what we choose. Harry Potter
and that's
thrown
what
in there.
Harley is, She is a sweet character. She's not all dark. I mean, she has dark tendencies, without a doubt, but she's not all dark.
Plus, we all wish we could do the crazy, goofy tendencies.
That's what he even said
Yeah.
in the panel. They get to show all the things that they wish they could do in real life that we can't get away with, but Harley can.
Yeah, exactly. So they're just so fun to go see. If you're ever at a con near you, or you're at DragonCon and they're there,
go see them.
They're going to try to come back to DragonCon next year. They said they really want to. So hopefully, if it works out,
they live in Orlando, so it's actually a lot easier to get to DragonCon
away,
versus San Diego Comic Con, which I mean, I'm pretty sure they're contractually obligated to go to.
They might go to Orlando. I know there's a con in Orlando that's pretty big.
Yes,
so they probably go to that.
There's an Orlando Comic Con. They said
we should go to that one.
I mean, we
should be our Comic Con.
Beach and comics. What could be better?
That sounds amazing. But anyways, so that was always fun. After that...
Well, you didn't even say, but your sisters came with us, and they're not Harley Quinn fans at all, and they came out of the panel wanting to read the comics simply because of who Amanda and Jimmy are.
They're like, they clearly are the people who should be writing Harley. And we're like, yeah, we know. They're so good. Oh, one thing we should say, though, Amanda Connor, I mean, I don't know if we should say this, but she heavily hinted at the idea that there might be a Harley Quinn cartoon coming out that they're going to be involved with.
Now,
she didn't say it.
She doesn't outright say it, but she did hint at it, and a lot of the things that they hinted last year, because I guess they just don't care at that point.
He says he gets some calls
and being like, "What did you do?" So everything that they said last year or hinted at last year came true in the next year following. Yeah. So here's to hoping that we actually see that.
They hinted at Little Black Book when we saw them last year. They hinted at Gang of Harleys. They hinted at Super Zero. And they
hinted at a lot of things. They never come outright and say anything, mainly because I don't think they can do anything like that. That is actually a breach of contract, and that's not going to work.
They're not afraid of doing that gray area.
Because they're such heavy hitters in their industry at this point that they can get away with a lot.
So it was really cool, and that's what we were thinking, like next year they might be too big for us to get their autograph. It might be one of those $30 autographs.
Which I will still happily spend.
That's true. It's true. It's worth it. They're great people to meet. But anyways, that was definitely one of the highlights of the con, without a doubt. After that, speaking of the Deadpool thing earlier, we went to see the autographs. That my sisters wanted to see the autograph room. We get there, the line to get in is too long, so okay, screw this. They just wanted to get near Charlie Cox.
I mean,
that was basically what they were trying to do.
Fair. He's
Candace was
very nice
buying
looking
an autograph just so she could meet Charlie Cox, which I was like, I don't blame you. But
he's a good looking dude.
The line was crazy. It would have taken in 30 minutes just to get in.
Yeah, I saw 30 minutes that you're like,
and probably another 30 minutes standing in line for Charlie Cox.
Especially seeing as it's Saturday. Like, if you're going to do anything or get anything signed and they're there on Friday, you're going to want to do it Friday.
Or Sunday or
one of those days. Saturday is just the day.
Go on Monday.
Saturday is just the day, and everybody. If you're getting a one day ticket,
80,000 people are in town.
Yeah, if you're getting a one day ticket, everyone's getting Saturday one day tickets, right? Unless, for some unfortunate reason, you can't go.
Anyways, we're like, okay, well, let's go check out the Hyatt because there's been some changes. The artist our alley used to be in the Hyatt, but it wasn't anymore. So we're like, okay, let's go see what's there.
Which was a good move, seeing as the last year it was you couldn't move without full on just bumping into somebody.
The artist alley is way bigger now. It's about twice the size. It's amazing. But anyways, we went to leave and we get stuck from a freaking 200 person, had to have been
easily 200,
maybe even 250 person
Deadpool conga line.
It was amazing. Every Deadpool cosplay you can imagine. Like, there's a Teletubby Deadpool.
Yeah, Teletubby Deadpool. There was
Sailor Moon Deadpool. Everything. Like,
just some of the most bizarre things.
Gwenpool. I saw 2 Gwenpools. That was awesome.
Yes, Deadpool as a lifeguard. That happened.
It was amazing. I have a video of it. We're going to post the video on our Facebook. It has to go there.
All pictures and videos from this weekend will be up on our Facebook.
We'll make that happen. So that was incredible. But and then we're leaving that. We're going into the Hyatt, and we're trying to go through the main entrance. They're like, this is closed. Main entrance is closed. We're like, okay. And so we're thinking we have to go all the way around the Hyatt, which is like a long walk. And they're like, no, just going through this weird
back alley entrance that no one knew about. But not gonna lie, if I don't get caught next year, I'm gonna use it.
The staff only area, basically, where there's pipes on the walls. And
we're being led into this to be like, okay.
It's a good 5-minute walk through random parts of the motel we would have never been allowed to go to otherwise. So that's how this con is. If you go with no expectations and don't try to go to any specific panel, you will still have a blast. Because you run into crazy things, and crazy things happen, and you can't...
Oh, yeah, they do.
When there's 100,000 people coming to a con, you don't know.
Oh, yeah, you run into some crazy things, like that girl on our first day of the vendors, who was clearly on something.
That was Saturday.
Was that Saturday?
That was in line for Harley Quinn. Because we had to stand in line for the vendors on Saturday, too. It wasn't as long as Friday, but it was still...
because the vendors and the panel was in the same building.
Yeah, so we had to be in there, and we needed to go to the vendors anyway. So we stood in line for the vendors on Saturday for a good 30 minutes. But maybe not quite, maybe 20. Mm-hmm. But Friday was almost an hour we stood in line. That was crazy.
But worth it.
Worth it, yeah, it is worth it to go early like that. But, and the vendors weren't quite so packed on Friday because we were one of the first in.
Yeah, we were one of the first in. We learned from our lesson last year.
That's why it's good to go early. But anyways, this girl just comes up to us, and we're talking about Pokemon Go. She was just really into it, and she was trying to look at my camera. She got in your personal space, and she was clearly just acting off. But then she starts scratching her neck and stuff.
And we noticed she has all these sores. So,
Jared!
Jared's home! Say hi to the podcast, Jared. We're talking about DragonCon, which you didn't go to.
Jared didn't go to DragonCon.
Yeah. Shame!
Sorry, guys.
Shame! Little Game of Thrones reference there for you guys.
Oh, we had a
yes,
blast.
It was so fun. You should listen to our podcast because you'll learn all about it.
Yeah. Well, listen to it while you're studying.
Yeah, I'll do that.
So this girl clearly was
he wanted to go. He had tests coming up.
Boo,
he's got
school.
A tough school major.
But this girl was clearly what? Best guess, meth?
Oh yeah, meth or crack or something. It was not normal.
Just drugs. All up in your personal space.
Very much in. But she was skipping through the line.
She was just acting crazy and moving up the line, which
so people weren't gonna say leave to a crazy meth.
Which granted, if you're really not on meth, that's a great strategy.
It's a decent strategy. So anyway, she kept moving up, and we saw her inside later.
We did.
Oh God, it's her!
And we ran the other way.
Get away. But anyways, after that, after we got back to the Hyatt and all that stuff happened, Charlie left.
He was too tired. He had been going since 9. He's 12 years old. He can't go all to the nightlife at DragonCon anyway.
You gotta be 18 for most of it. So.
Yeah, I mean, you can go to panels and stuff, but for most of it, you can't go.
Right.
Which kind of sucks.
There are adult panels on that. But, so they went home. We stayed. We stayed all day. We didn't
We did. We didn't go home. We didn't nap. Nothing.
So
powered through.
Then we did... but while we're still there, before Charlie left... Got approached by freaking douchebag Beast Boy. That's an honorable mention. Dude just sits down, and it's my sisters are there, and my girlfriend's sitting right next to me.
Hi, I'm the girlfriend.
And he just sits down, just plops down right next to us. He's like, "Hey guys, I'm Beast Boy." And we're like, "Yeah, we see that, Beast Boy, cool."
No, he didn't even say, "Hey guys." He said, "Hey ladies." Ignored both you and Charlie.
Hey guys first, I'm Beast Boy, and then he's like, "Hey ladies, you want to go for a ride on my moped?" And they're all just they don't say anything. They just look at him, and I'm like. Yeah, but I think that's a swing and a miss right there. And he got like clearly angry at me. I was just like joking around with him, like, and he got clearly angry with me. And I don't even know what he's talking about. He just like kept talking.
He just kept talking. It was very much so directed at me, a little bit at Candace, not so much Haley. I don't think, because Haley was making faces at him.
Like, excuse me. It was like not taking this bull. So I'm finally like, hey, Beast Boy, do you want my mixtape? Because I have a little mixtape for one of my bands on the side. It's like a little EP. And he's like, not really, man. I was like, well, come on, dude. You come here, you hit on my girlfriend. Like, come on, the least you can do is take my mixtape. So I give it to him. He's like, yeah, but now it's like a burden because I don't have any, like, good pockets and blah, blah, blah. Like, start, like, whining about it. I'm like, are you kidding me? You're going to whine about me giving you an EP? You're a douche. Like, that alone is, like, being a douchebag, right? And, so then he's whining about that, and he's like, yeah, well, you know what? I'm just waiting on a call from my boyfriend, so bye. He was just faking being gay to make me feel bad. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't give a crap if he's gay or not, but, like, he was. He's just a douchebag.
I mean, that's DragonCon for you. Like, if you're a girl...
No. Yeah.
You're going to get approached by some dude.
Some creepy guys. Now, that being said, there's a ton of nice people, guys and girls. There's just a ton of nice people.
Yes, you have those weirdos. You have the lovable weirdos, as I like to call our little band of misfits. And then you have the
weirdos. Lovable weirdos is the most common person there, I'd say.
Yeah, like it's people who like, you know, they're super into this stuff and they get really easily excitable, but they're so nice. Like, for instance, if you ask a random person if they have like a charger, especially if you're around people who are playing Pokemon Go, like 6 people will look in their bags to see if they have something that fits your phone.
Just to help you out. That's common. But you have random douchebag Beast Boys, who we saw later.
Who hits on your girlfriend.
Yeah, and my sisters. So.
Yeah, that was weird.
So he left, but anyways, after that, though, what did we do? Did we get food, probably? No, we went to that 5 Truths and a Lie.
Very cool thing, because Tony was there. He got separated from us because he had a
seat with that.
Yeah, he had a bunch of other friends, especially friends from high school who didn't even know, who were there. So we went into that room, and apparently 5 Truths and a Lie is a podcast, another podcast, obviously more popular than ours.
Yeah, they're apparently pretty big. They get like actors.
They get actors and like improv people, and they all tell stories. And you, as the audience, have to figure out who the liar is. So apparently in 25 years, they've only had one audience guess the correct liar.
What?
And that just goes to show how great these actors and stuff are, and how crazy some of their lives have been. Because like there was a story about like one girl having to be like a wrestler turned into a stripper.
Yeah, is that real? I guess.
Oh, I don't remember which one was real. Some dude who faked being a pro football player, cases of like mistaken identity. Yeah. Very, very cool, really entertaining. We mainly went in there to meet up with Tony and chill because you're tired at this point.
Like, it's great to have 2 or 3 panels that are at the same hotel in a row, so you can just like chill for a good 3-4 hours. You need that at cons, especially ones where you're walking a lot.
We did the math. We walked easily
32 miles, wasn't it?
32 miles in about 4 days. Burned over 2,000 calories. It was great. So eat as much as you want.
You can eat like crap at this.
You can. It's really actually hard to eat healthy because they don't have a ton of healthy options. That's okay. We'll be making a Broke.as.node con quick tips guide one of these years.
Idea. Absolutely. For next DragonCon, definitely.
Because we definitely did better this time around.
So I want to make an honorable mention. We also met up with my friend Cody. So Cody, we got to give a little backstory to.
Oh, Cody.
Cody decided he was going to come. Through some miscommunication, he thought that he was going to meet us at our house. We live in Kennesaw, outside of
about
Atlanta.
20 minutes north.
20 minutes north. And he was going to meet us at our house, ride with us into Atlanta, and then come back and stay the night here. That's not what we said. I told him he could ride into... What I meant was, yeah, you can stay the night with us, because he asked if he could stay the night. When I said yes, he assumed he'd just be riding in with us. I never said that. And if he actually was listening, I said, oh, also, I'm staying the night.
We're staying the night before at his sister's place.
So Cody decides that he's not going to come till like 2 or 3, which is already a bad idea.
It's a terrible idea.
And so... he finally gets into Atlanta around 2:30, 3. He calls me. He's like, because he's already upset that he had to ride in. And I'm like, yo, like I can't do anything about it. He calls me. Dude is super lost in South Atlanta. And he's like, Cody's a character, by the way. Let's just say that about Cody. Cody's a character.
The only way to describe Cody accurately is he is one of those dudes who unironically vapes heavily and posts weird shit on Facebook.
That's a great description of Cody.
Very unironically. It's not satire. It's not anything.
That's just who he
it's
is.
Cody.
It's Cody.
Likes to be a ladies' man, but
attempt to be a ladies' man.
Yeah. So Cody is Cody. I've just known him forever, so he's around a lot.
He'll be on the podcast one of these days, and y'all can all hear it.
You can just hear Cody being Cody. That's the only way to say it. Cody's Cody. You can't change him. I'll tell you that much.
Nope.
So he's lost in Atlanta. He doesn't go to Atlanta that often, and Cody's like, hey man, he's like really frustrated. He wants me to tell him how to get DragonCon. I was like, listen, type in the Hilton. Go to the Hilton. That's a great start, and you find a parking garage near the Hilton. And he's like, okay. Calls me back. He's like, lost again. I can't find it. It didn't take me there. And I'm like, there's no way. He typed in something wrong. And I was like, there's no way, man. You just messed up. And he's like, well, I don't know what to do, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I'm at MARTA. Where do I go from MARTA? I'm like, oh my God. If you don't know, MARTA's like our subway system. There's like 20 stops at MARTA, Cody.
You can't just say, I'm at MARTA.
You could be at 20 different locations.
That's like being in New York and be like, I'm at the subway.
I'm at the subway. Which way do I go? Like, no. It doesn't work like that. So anyways, Cody finally gets there around like 3,
4.
He tries to walk into a hotel, and then they stop him. He's like, they won't let me in. What do I do? Like,
go get a pass.
You have to get a pass, Cody. Oh, okay. So finally he gets a pass. Finally, around 7 at this point.
6 or 7.
Because we met him at the vendors. We didn't meet him at the vendors, but he wanted to stay.
Yeah, he wanted to stay, and especially the vendors, they close at 7.
Yeah, this is like 5:30, so we're like, okay, you can stay. We'll meet you. So finally at 7, or after 7, we meet up with Cody. Cody is a night shift worker, so he's really tired. So we had a few beers. He had to drive home, so he didn't drink that much. But he was like having fun. We were hanging out at the Hilton, that Red Bull canopy area. That was cool.
Red Bull. We'll call it the Red Bull rooftop.
Yeah, they had a DJ. They had bars. It was fun. We got some beers. It was a good time. And then we tried to go to a kinkwear panel that was not very kinky. Really. And
it was like a plus. First of all, it was plus size. That was
specifically for plus size women.
Well, just plus size. I don't think it's aimed.
Yeah, that's true. They didn't say women.
DragonCon is very LGBTQIA friendly, even though they didn't have separate dances and separate panels. It is definitely one of those friendly things. And so it was saying kinkwear, but more like, don't think like handcuffs, whips and chains. It was more talking about lingerie and kind of costuming. So we went into that, me, the only girl out of our group, followed by Lucas, my friend Tony, who, by the way, just for image-wise, is a hulking 6'6", 200x pounds man, and Cody. So I'm being followed into this panel by 3 decently sized men. We all sit down and we're listening to this panel, and I'm sitting here thinking that I'm going to learn all this cool stuff because I would love to get into cosplay more. I did more of a mild cosplay this go around, especially because there's, any girls out there or even men out there listening knows that like when you cosplay certain characters, they do have certain things that you're not comfortable with wearing. So I did a more mild cosplay this go around. But anyway, so we get in there. There's these 2 panelists. One is primarily a makeup artist, and the other one is a corset maker. Now, this lady knew her stuff.
She knew about corsets.
She knew all the details. She very clearly, but she also had like a master's in costuming and works as a costuming teacher at
runs a corset business as
well. All this thing. But this one lady, the makeup artist lady, I really did not like the message she was giving out.
Pretty mean lady. Not the person you need at a plus size panel, I'd say.
No, because she was all about, well, like, I end up getting this. You know, I get, like, back fat cleavage, and I hate my thighs, and I hate my lower stomach. I really like my cleavage, but, like, that's really all she said about herself, was she really liked her cleavage.
She's just like, if you don't like a part of you, just cover it up. Just cover it up with makeup, or cover it
up with your hair, or cut it this way, and just cover it up. Cover it up. Or, my favorite,
like,
camouflage it.
Camouflage it.
Camouflage
it was like
it.
She really, like, stressed covering it up, like, over 20 times. Like, it was ridiculous almost. And the other lady's like, well, if
you want to cover it up, then you can, but you don't have to.
Like, it's especially at cons. Like,
at cons, statistically, you're probably not the worst body.
If you want to let your belly go, let your freaking belly go, man. Like, seriously.
And especially seeing as, like,
with it, go for it.
At cons, you see so many dudes who, like, don't fit the quote-unquote ideal body type for a character, but they're still encouraged to cosplay and do it. There's that weird dichotomy, though, with, like, girls cosplaying that, like, if you don't have the body type, you shouldn't do it.
Yeah,
I've seen that a decent bit. But, I mean, do you? Like, if you're a dude who's got a belly and you want to be bombshell Harley Quinn with a bikini top and shorts, do it.
Man.
I mean, make sure your dick's not out.
Yeah, obviously
like,
be decent enough for public, but...
I mean, do you know how many dudes there I saw in thongs?
Yeah, thongs.
A lot of dude butt. A lot of dude butt.
Butts are okay. It's a con.
Like, it's just your body. But yeah, didn't really like that.
That kind of sucked. So we left that panel early. But before we left, Cody is like, he's like, let's go. I'm going all night. Yeah. Woo! And then we get in that panel and he sits down. Given this dude has maybe walked like, maybe 3 miles. He didn't even walk that much. Like, we walked like 4 times as much as he did. And he's like, I'll be right back. I'm going outside. And we're like, what the hell? So we go outside, right outside of the con. Cody is passed out
with his shoes off.
With his shoes off. It's so
and he's got his cup of beer next to him.
Yeah. So we, of course, take a lot of pictures with him.
Which, by the way, will be on the Facebook.
They will absolutely be on the Facebook and Twitter. That's got to go up and everywhere. Because that was amazing. That was absolutely hilarious. That was a great moment. We woke him up.
After we had spent 5 minutes just messing with him. But
oh, yeah. We took a lot of great pictures. Like I said, finally woke him up and then headed to the Heroes and Villains Ball, which is always the most lit party at DragonCon.
It is.
You gotta stand in line for a good 30 minutes at least.
Yep.
But line went pretty fast. We were only 30 minutes, I'd say.
Compared to last year?
Last year was an hour.
But I also think this ballroom was a lot bigger. So last year it was held in the Sheraton, which wasn't nearly as big of a ballroom.
They gave them a bigger ballroom this year.
And they also, I think, like I was telling you earlier today, I think they pushed it to the West End. So the West End is much farther from all the hotels. Like, there's a little grouping. The Sheraton, the Marriott, the Hyatt, and the Hilton are all pretty much right next to each other within, easily an eighth to a quarter of a mile within each other. The West End is the farthest one away. So it has the least amount of activity. So I think by putting one of the bigger quote-unquote balls there, it brings activity that way. Because unless you've got a specific panel to go to there, you kind of avoid going to the West End. It is like a straight...
It's fun. There's always good panels there.
Over a quarter mile walk uphill.
Yeah. But it's a good place for cons. Like, it's built great for it. But it's
totally. But it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah, definitely. So, it was fun, though, when we got in. I took a picture with Spark. That was awesome. That was probably my highlight. Totally hit on some girls. We found the Deadpool Congo line. It wasn't as big, but it was like a good 50 of them left.
In there.
So, and they were just Congoing. So, Cody immediately joined that. We didn't see Cody for an hour. And he was just hanging out with Deadpool. So.
Yeah, and we just had a lot of fun and danced and hung out and... Finally, at the end of the day, it was like, 2:30?
No, before that, before we hit 2:30, we got some late night food. That was good.
Because by this point, so con rules on eating is apparently like Hobbit rules, right?
Yeah, you got to have at least 2 meals for each meal. So, breakfast, second breakfast, lunch, second lunch. Dinner, supper,
you're walking so much and you're sweating so much that you just have to, or else you legitimately will pass out unless you're like Troy and just basically don't eat for most of the day.
That was crazy. We're getting to Troy's story. We're close. Troy's day is like we'll
that's just
segment
a different itinerary altogether.
But anyways, we get done eating and we walk into the Hyatt. And we're looking for Troy, and we've called him at this point, like, meet us up. He's like, all right. Reluctantly, he wants to stay in his panel. And we're like...
We're just happy Troy's not dead.
We're just happy he's not dead. He finally communicates with us. And we're like, waiting around, and this guy's like, hey, come into this panel. And we're like... What is it? He's like, just come in. You'll love it.
He's like, wait, I got to see your ID. So we're like, oh, God.
He's like, but first I need to see your ID and your badge. So we're like, okay. We're like, okay, fuck it. Let's just go. Let's go.
It's DragonCon. You kind of have to have a fuck it attitude.
Just gotta go for it. So we go in, and it is kilt blowing. It is kilt blowing.
Yeah, it's kilt blowing. It's a bunch of dudes in kilts lined up on the side of the stage, and one lady is on the stage, and she's there with a leaf blower, and they Marilyn Monroe it on stage.
Marilyn Monroe.
And you know what? You want to know some fun facts? Some of them don't wear underwear.
Yeah, you saw some butt. I never saw any penis.
I'm pretty sure that they're not allowed to do that.
Yeah, they probably have penises too far. But they got Adidas. Like, come on. Show some
peen. Show some peen.
But that's just DragonCon, man. If you're just free and open and don't have any plans, like I said,
you know what?
You don't know what you're going to run
into.
You
really don't, because it's not like we planned to go to that. We didn't star that on our little itinerary. We just ended up there. And now we have a really fun story to tell. Especially seeing as Tony had gone off again and now needed to meet up with us. Just telling him what ballroom we were in.
Just come here. You'll like it.
And he just walked in and he's like, what is this? Which is, as a female, is really fun to see dudes have to come to that realization of what that is.
There were a lot of females in the crowd, too, and they were going crazy.
They were there for it, which you're participating next year.
Oh,
but
yeah, I'm getting killed along.
What we're going to do is we're going to put huge googly eyes on his butt cheeks. That's part of my game plan anyway. So after that, we went and got... was it food?
No, food was before that. And after that, we were done. That's when we finally met up.
We were like, all right.
It was 2:30 at this point. Like, it was late.
And, if you're not planning on coming to the next day and you only want to do Saturday... Go hard.
Go hard, man.
But if you're planning on doing another day, you kind of want to reach that cutoff where it's almost 3 o'clock, because that's when things really do start to die down.
Yeah, around 3:30 things start to actually die. But even at 2, like when we were leaving, people were still
raging,
crowded, man. People were going. It was crazy.
So that was our day, and by our day I mean me, Lucas, his sisters, and Tony. And so now I think and Cody for like 0.5 seconds, who
now we'll get to
is Cody. But now we're gonna pass it to Troy's day. We promise he's still here. It's been us talking for a while, but Troy just
his own day.
I think he went the hardest out of all of us.
He saw the most panels, without a doubt.
Well, some of the things that y'all have were a little bit more than mine, but there was some weird things in mine. Okay, so got up early with Luke's sisters and his cousin. Went there. They went to the registration, and I was going to a panel called, let's see, Diesel Punk Animation. From what this described, this was going to go over many things that were slightly steampunk, but also was going into modern machinery. Like, one example they were going to bring up was the Legend of Korra series, where you was having, like, these steam tanks and airships and automobiles, like the old Ford Model Ts and all that. But I ended up not going into that because that was being held at the Mart, and at that time there was a huge-ass line for the vendors.
Oh, for the vendors.
And you know how people that are waiting in line for 30 minutes to get into like shopping will get onto you if you cut in there. Oh, so yeah. I did
Unless
not.
You had like your mapped out.
Yeah. And I didn't have that. I'm a small dude and kind of petite, so I mean I do have fat on me, but I ain't muscular or anything, so I was like, I just ain't gonna deal with this. Somebody's just gonna get all up in my face, and I don't like that. And then at that time the parade was going on, so I was stuck around there for like a couple of hours. The first hour I was like trying to find a way to go around the damn parade, but that did not work out.
In all the years we've gone to DragonCon, we have yet to make it to
And that was probably the most walking I did. I probably walked like a good 12 blocks, going back and forth from every direction that the parade was going on at. And then I was finally like, screw it, the line's probably gone from the Mart. So I went into the Mart, ate some lunch. And then after the parade went away, that was probably, it was like around 1 o'clock, and I got there. My first panel was I Ship It. And if you don't know what
I don't care.
I ship it. And if you don't know what shipping is, that is a community, a trend where you like pair up these two people that you think should be together, either like in a kind of romantic way or in a platonic way or a love-hate rivalry type way. And you say this person, and whatever type of way you want them to be paired up, and you say, I ship it. And there's a huge community for this. I didn't know this was as big as I thought it was. And the panelists for this was quite hilarious. Let's see. The panelists for this were Loading.
Loading. You're loading?
Buffering.
You're loading on live radio, Troy?
Well, it's a good thing that this isn't live.
Well, yeah, but I'm not going to edit out.
Well, dang, for some reason it doesn't have the woman who was actually the moderator. It's got the other person labeled as the moderator, but his name is Mike Linetsky, and he was...
Linetsky.
Yeah,
Sounds
they
like Mike
actually
Wazowski.
made that joke. Somebody was saying Mike Wazowski, and he's like Mike Wazowski. But the other person who was the moderator, she was female, and she...
Fell in love.
Nah, it wasn't anything like that, but she is super into this. She's been doing this for probably, I don't know, like 10 years or so. Who knows? She's done like hundreds of shits, and she's so big into it that part of the panel she was describing shipping charts, and she showed us her shipping chart, and it looked like an Excel spreadsheet, and she did that in MS Paint.
So clearly, she came prepared.
Yeah. She's super into it and super prepared for it. And she was so emotional and freaking cheery, uppity about all this.
Just about it.
Yeah. And she went through every type of shit there is. The ones she labeled the red is the romantic ship pairing.
Mm-hmm.
And God, I'm trying to think of her shit she had on the slide. She had Winry and Edward from Full Metal Alchemist.
Don't they get together anyways?
Yeah.
So
I mean, a lot of these are straight up like ones
So
that you
no
know
doubt.
is going to be like that.
So those aren't fun.
Well, there was a few random ones. One that she did have that was red was Cora and God, what's her name?
I don't
The-
like Avatar.
Yeah, I know, but for you Avatar fans, if you've watched Legend of Korra, she had Korra and the daughter
Asami?
Asami, yes.
I'm on Tumblr a lot, so even though I haven't watched it, trust me, I know.
Korra and Asami as a red pair, because in the show it does hint that, and it's actually semi-canon. It's like the creators said that they are together, but it didn't show that in the show because apparently that show is geared towards children, and
But there's nothing wrong with those types of relationships.
yeah, but the companies, they're not ready
They're not.
to show that
They're
to children.
not. So it is definitely, because I've read a lot about
But
Korra
it
and
is
Asami.
heavily hinted in those
is.
episodes. But they ain't gonna straight out have them be together if they do any more of the show. Unless that they start making progress towards that. But anyway, then they have like the pale ships, which is like plutonic, like it's they're true friends to one another. God, I'm drawing up blanks on all
So
this.
just lots of different ships.
Yeah.
It is what you'd expect.
And the black one, I love one of the ones she did for the black ones, which is the rivalry ships.
Oh,
like,
okay.
they love to hate each other. And one of them was,
Ash and Homer Simpson.
no. It was Isaiah and, damn it, who is it? One who dresses in the butler outfit.
That's not shipping. They're like that in the show.
Yeah.
Shizuo. How do you
Yeah.
always forget Shizuo's name?
I don't know.
Shizuo is amazing, dude. I took a picture with an Izaya, and I was like, "Do you have a Shizuo?" And he's like, "Not at DragonCon this year, sadly." But he said he had him at MomoCon. They went together, and he knows acrobatics, and the other guy had
Damn.
a styrofoam lamppost. Signpost that he'd carry around, and so they do fighting demonstrations out, and Izaya guy would be doing like flips and stuff, and he'd be like charging at him with the lamp, like the signpost. It's cool. That's awesome.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so shipping is it just commenting on relationships that already exist sometimes? Because that's boring.
Yeah.
No, a lot of them is like basically ones that you would pair. A lot of the ones is crack ships where you go crossing into different universes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Shipping was more like different universe things, like different shows.
A lot of it
is the same show. It's like ones that never met each other, or like ones that weren't together.
A lot of it is like basically stating, yeah, this is how it is in the show. But there is ones like they would pair up characters of the same universe, and it's like they shouldn't be with this person. They should be with this person.
Dude, I ship Henri and Erica from Durarara. Speaking of Durarara, Erica's the girl who's really into manga, and Henri is obviously.
It's like how everybody ships Harry and Hermione in Harry Potter.
That makes sense.
It's that
there's
type of
different
stuff.
levels of shipping, but pointing out ones that are already there, like pointing out the rivalry between Izuha and Shizuo, that's like obvious. That's talked about in the show. Like that's just boring. You're just talking about something that already exists.
Of course they're going to do the obvious ships. The crazy ships is called the crack ships, where it's like you're usually ripping two or more people from different universes and putting them together. It's like, sure, they're not going to meet, and sure, it's not canon.
Like, there's also ships from like the same universe. Like they don't get together in the show, but they should.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
like they did it with South Park. They did it with two characters from South Park. That was a popular one.
I mean, she did do ships like that. I just can't freaking remember them.
Well, mine is Henri and Erica. That's what I would have said at it.
Anyway, so
awesome.
after the shipping panel, what did you do?
What else did you do?
Let's see,
You told us you did. You went to a lot of panels. Yeah, you shouldn't talk probably 30 minutes about one of them because you went to a lot.
You went to like 60.
Yeah. After that, I went to this panel called Evil Geniuses, Let's Kill the Planet. And I was probably there for like 10 or 15 minutes.
I'm sorry, what was that?
What?
Evil Geniuses, Let's Kill the Planet. And they actually had like smart people in this, kind of like we had in the
Force.
Yeah, how the Force works. They had like biologists, various other types of scientists, but anyway, they were like talking about how they would destroy universes, and they came up with some crazy ones, like one of Pluto's moons, I believe, or something. One of the moons that was bigger than Pluto, which is one of the reasons why they dumped Pluto out as not being a planet. They were like, if we could get that propelling enough, it would collide into the other moon, and then that would go on down the line in the solar system area.
It had to be like perfect, though. It had to be perfect timing.
Yeah, they were describing it. It was crazy sciencey and all that, and saying that there was like this other method. It was going to be like where the Earth would go molten, and if anything germ-like and all survived in that, then the Earth would ice over again in a complete ice age and kill all that stuff out. So it would be completely done.
Annihilation of all life forms.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And you were only there for 10 minutes? I read that.
It was a crazy panel.
What did you go to after that?
After that, I went to another ship panel. And
What? Troy!
This one wasn't so focused on anime. This one was focused on DC, Marvel, CW universes, and all that. They were talking about various ships and that. God, my mind sucks at bringing up stuff, but
To be fair, you were also very tired.
Didn't eat any.
yeah, probably that.
Troy at one time, 12 o'clock. I was like, Troy, you haven't had anything to eat in 14 hours.
They were bringing up a few, like the Black Widow and Hulk relationship that they tried to do.
That no one likes.
They were like,
no one's a fan of.
They were like, that could have worked.
Yeah.
It's just that it was done poorly.
It was.
They had horrible writing.
It was forced into.
Like one reason saying that Black Widow was a monster because she could not breed anymore and all that.
Yeah.
Which sterilization doesn't make you a monster.
Right.
Yeah.
No one liked that.
That was really
that puts a
terrible
weird
writing.
thing on, especially a lot of women who can't reproduce, who are sterilized for health reasons, who are sterilized against their will. That's a nod to some horrible stuff we did as a country.
Yeah,
but,
both the panel and the whole room agreed to that.
Where'd you go to after that? Second ship of the day. Troy just went to ship panels the entire DragonCon. You can line it up to where that's all you do, and that's what Troy did.
Let's see. I tried to go to this panel that was going to be the Wonder Woman 75th anniversary.
Oh, you tried to make that? We thought about trying to make that one.
But then I went to it. It was a completely different schedule.
Right. They changed things up.
They moved that to Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
And
that happens.
And I think after that, I actually did go to the, I decided, what the hell, I'll just do it, and went all the way to the son of Triskaidekaphobia. This was a weird phobia name. I don't know how to freaking say it all the way, but this was basically the weird panel showing videos of that you would probably see on Tumblr and whatnot. Very odd light videos. A couple of videos was like random ass documentaries of Morgan Freeman narrating things. One was like the cuttlefish and all that. And few random AMV videos. And the panelist guy for that was pretty crazy. It's like, if anybody should cosplay as a mad scientist, it was him. He would have been like a Rick or something like that.
Oh, God.
And I was at
you were
that.
there for the rest of the night, right?
That was the first thing I was ever first in line for.
Nice.
I got there like probably an hour and a half early.
What the heck, Troy?
Because there was nothing else going on. I was like, screw it, I'll go to this and wait.
And then that was a 3-hour panel, right?
Yeah,
4 hour
I
panel,
was.
so you were
I
just
was
there the
like,
rest of the night.
I was there for like 3.5 hours, and that's.
Hell, Troy.
And then that was when y'all contacted me saying we should get back.
No, I called you and told you to come to kilt blowing, and you're like, no, I want to stay here at the panel. I've already been at for 3 hours. You
Because it was freaking
kilt
fun.
Blowing, man.
And after every hour, he was saying it's about to get even crazier, and it was getting crazier. It was like super trippy, crazy ass videos that normal people would be like, I had to be drunk or high to get this, or something like that. And some people were saying that, the people in that were behind me and all that. But after y'all did that kilt blowing, y'all
we met up with you.
Yeah, met up with me.
That was then Troy's Saturday.
So then we all went back to Haley's house and passed out.
Oh yeah, there was no even surviving of that. Sunday, we were like, okay, we got to get what?
Oh, I didn't say
I
anything.
thought you were making a motion at me like,
No.
Troy, what are you doing?
Troy just
Troy's
flushed
over here
us.
stripping. Anyways, Sunday we decided we really wanted to go back to Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti because I wanted to get a poster. I didn't get to get one. And we wanted to get some of Samantha's first edition first.
So, first edition of Starfire, which I learned sadly is done with. They only got signed on for 12 comics.
1 year.
So, just 1 year, and it was over. Which is weird because nothing came. We're sitting there in the comic book store for what, like, consecutively each month being like, where's Starfire? Because it didn't end completely in a way that, like, kind of wrapped everything up, in my opinion. Like, it wrapped the adventure up.
Right,
but it still seemed like there was going to be like another not episode, but another comic, another thing for more, and so
they might have like left it to where maybe she shows up and
maybe just keeping kind of a door open. But we actually got to ask them about that at their table. But we ended up you ended up having to take Tony to his car.
Yeah, which he had a boot on.
We
asked Tony the night before. 3 times we're like, yo, dude, are you sure you need to be back here at your car by 11? Because a lot of places are 10. He's like, oh, no, I'm sure. Yeah, no, it's 10. I mean, it's 11. I know it. And we're like, okay. And so he got there at 11, a little before 11, at like 10:50 the next day. And there was a boot on his car. It had been there for an hour.
Whoops. But he got that taken off. So he actually ended up going home. He had stuff to do. And so what we did is we packed up all our stuff and we actually came all the way back here to Kennesaw and then went to my place, went through my comics and tried to figure out which things I wanted to get signed. Yeah. So we decided on Super Zero because that is completely Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti's brainchild. It is a completely of their own character in one of their friends' comic book companies that their friends started.
Yeah. What's the name of that? I can't think of it.
I'd have to pull out the comic, and I don't have those on me
it's a brand new
right
company.
Now. Anyway, really good series too. Check it out if you can. The artwork style is really, really similar to their Harley Quinn style, and the story's funny, and it is actually kid-friendly. Fun fact for you. It is definitely kid-friendly.
More so than
Harley Quinn. Now, Harley Quinn's still kid-friendly and is like, Disney and stuff like that in the way where, like, you can allude to things and adults are going to get it, but kids aren't. Like, when you go back and you watch Disney movies, like, 10 years later, you're like, oh, that's what that means. Same thing with Harley Quinn. Not nearly as family-friendly. And we also decided on Starfire because the series is done. And I had the first edition printings of both of them. Whereas with some of my Harley Quinns, because I wasn't as adamant about getting stuff when I first started collecting their series, 2.5 years ago, we decided not to get those signed. Although I do have some rarer comics that I eventually would like signed, but I thought maybe 2 comics was pushing it.
Yeah, we thought 2 comics would be pushing it.
So
they were signing for free.
They were signing for free. They had a little box next to them saying, hey, we don't mind signing for free, but if you do get something signed or if you get a picture, donate to this charity that we're supporting, which was something with creativity.
Nice people.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't read it all that much. I did donate though, both times. Once when I got my poster the day before, and then again when we got our stuff signed. So we thought getting 3 things was signed was pushing it because you got a poster, and then we each had a comic. Yeah. My comics, but you were holding one for me. Right. And then there's this asshole,
dude in front of us. He has 6 out. So I was already like, all right, babe, it's probably okay. If they're willing to sign 6, they're definitely going to sign our 2.
Yeah.
And he's talking to him. He's like, you don't mind 6, do you? And Jimmy Palmiotti being like, nicest dude ever. He's like, no, we don't mind at all. Like, bring him here. And he's like, yeah, we don't mind signing like 5, 6 things. He's like, oh, cool, great. But is it cool if you sign a few more on top of it? He's like, yeah, I don't care if you got 1 or 2 more you want us to sign. Dude ends up pulling out 20 comics.
Like, as an easy stack, I saw mainly all Harley Quinn. There were a couple other things that they had done.
Harley Quinn, Power Girl, and then random ones that they had done on their own.
So, and like, it wasn't like all the Harley Quinns in a row. It was clearly ones that, I know I've looked up the comics that are worth more. They're definitely first editions or rarer variants. He was clearly there to get stuff signed and flip it. So we're sitting there, and like he holds up the entire line, which at this point it hadn't.
Good 10 minutes for that guy, like
a good 10 minutes, and we're just sitting there trying to get 2 comics signed. So we actually got to sit there and kind of talk to Jimmy for a while because he quickly went through and signed it. But Amanda Connor, she's so sweet. She sits there and makes sure her signature looks authentic. Blows on
her dedication.
Each individual one with Sharpie to make sure it's dry before she puts the next one on top.
She's like
super nice. So she was taking a minute. So we actually got to sit there and talk to Jimmy some more, and he recognized us from the day before, right?
Back again. He's like, back for more, are you? Like, yeah, we love it.
And we told him that you were getting the matching poster to mine and all that stuff, which they thought that was kind of cute. But yeah, no, we got to talk to them for 10 minutes. But if you're out there and you're a comic book fan and you're going to someone who is big, but definitely not like, they're not like Bruce Timm, Paul Dini level. They're not legends yet. Those people will not sign for free.
They can't. They can't.
They can't.
That would last forever.
No. But if you're doing that, like, think about the etiquette. Not only are they signing for free, there's also people behind you who are True Blue fans. Now, not to say that this dude isn't a True Blue fan. We didn't talk to him.
But he didn't act like it.
He didn't act like he
wasn't even talking to him.
Honestly, kind of rude.
Yeah. He was like, he insulted their, the stuff they had out. He's like, yeah, out of all the prints y'all have out, the only one I would get.
But he didn't even buy one. He was in line to get stuff signed.
He talked about buying it, but didn't.
He didn't. And then on top of that, he didn't even make a donation to that box that they specifically had there for hey, we signed for free. Like, give $1. It's $1.
So screw that guy.
If you're out there, fuck you, sir.
Show some. And if you're doing these things, and most people I feel like wouldn't do this. But if you are the type of person who wants to flip it, great. That's awesome. It's a cool thing to do, to get signatures on things, and you make a little money off it. That's that can be a hobby. That's great. Don't be that asshole though. Donate a few bucks. You're about to double the value of whatever you're getting signed. At least double the value. Yeah. Sometimes triple. In the case of Starfire, like the number 1 is still just worth $5. Its signed is worth $15. Like right off the bat, you add $10 to it.
And a year from now, because that series is over and they'll be a lot bigger, their artwork is going to be able to sell for more.
So it's like,
do I think I'm going to sell it? Probably not, because it's still a cool thing to have it signed. But the simple fact is, like, if you have that many comics, put a 20 in there. Or outright say, hey, I have a bunch of comics that I would like you to sign. Would you like to do it all now, or would you like to wait until there is a lull? Or give me a specific time to come back, because I don't want to interrupt.
Just so forceful
and just kind of rude about it. And they can't really afford to be rude and lose fans, because even though they are bigger, they're still under contract with DC and all that stuff, where they don't want somebody going online who works for some sort of thing, because they are comic book artists. It's not like,
I feel like they're just nice and love their fans.
Yeah, they do. So don't be that person.
Because they're going to come back next year and have to charge for autographs now. Like, they're going to have.
I mean, hopefully not. Fingers crossed.
Right.
But the simple fact that their room doubled in size this year shows a good bet, and we still have now counting down. I mean, DragonCon is now officially over, seeing as it's 6:15, early evening. We now have an exact year where a lot of stuff can happen.
Right.
Between now and then, and the next time that they come back, if they come back.
We might get a Harley Quinn animated show.
Exactly. And it's things like that where they're becoming even heavier hitters in the industry. Take advantage of the free signatures now, and the free autographs and the free pictures, and how nice they are now. Just be polite about it. Yeah. It's a thing about etiquette, because at the end of the day, at the end of the day, and it's why, that autograph room and getting pictures and people get handsy with them, I find that very, very rude, because at the end of the day, they still are people. That is their livelihood. Don't be that person. Have some etiquette.
But anyway,
so that's our rant on that.
Those are the two douches. Those are the two big douches of the con.
So both of you dudes, if you're listening to this, you know who you are.
Don't be that guy. Don't be that douche at the con, because most people are nice, and those nice people are making you look really bad because you're a douche. But anyways, what do we do after that? I have it. Let's see. Sunday.
Because we all stayed together mostly for Sunday, because Troy was the first one out of us to get something signed.
Just us three on
Me and
Sunday.
Troy actually got the same poster. So we'll actually put pictures of everything up on the Facebook, and you'll get to see the matching one that Lucas has to technically me and Troy's.
Yeah, y'all got the same one. After that, we went to a Game of Thrones panel. Hold the door. Troy did not get that reference.
Troy doesn't get that reference, so we're not going to talk about it too much, simply because he's sitting in the room with us.
It was hilarious. Troy's like looking through the panels. Troy likes Game of Thrones, and he's looking through the panels. He's like, man, there's nothing good going on. Because we were like, look through the panels for us. And he saw that, and he didn't get the reference, which was good. He wouldn't have wanted to go. They would have spoiled a lot for him.
Spoilers.
It was only spoilers from season 6, basically, was the whole panel.
Yeah, they did a season 6 recap, basically.
Of everyone who died.
And a little bit of speculation of what we potentially will see in season 7.
It was a fun panel, but it was just funny because Troy didn't see that.
Well, we were lucky to get in. They ended up having to turn people away.
Yeah, it was a small room.
While y'all was at that, I went to the philosophy of Star Wars and Star Trek.
Ooh, philosophy of Star Wars and Star Trek.
You said it wasn't that fun, right?
It was a good topic. The problem was they only had an hour to discuss philosophies of light and dark side on Star Wars and the prime directive of Star Trek.
Right.
That's 2 big universes and 2 controversies on Star Wars and 1 big thing on Star Trek.
That's too much to talk about.
And they were taking questions from people.
Yeah.
It was... That should have been... They should have separated those. They should have had 1 hour for philosophy in Star Wars, and then 1 hour for philosophy in Star Trek.
Right.
But
yeah, absolutely. Well, we talked about that in general. A lot of the panels, I think one reason we couldn't find good panels, there weren't that many specific panels. It was a lot of these vague panels like that women in sci-fi one. It was like, there's too much to talk about. You want to... last year we went to a Black Widow panel, and that was fun. That was great.
Cool.
Because it was specific. You knew you were going to talk about Black Widow, and it specifically said on there, mainly Black Widow in the movie. That's mainly what we're talking about. A few comic facts got brought up here and there, but it was mainly the movie. And those specific panels are fun. Like the Harry Potter genetic one. That was fun. It was specific. But when you're doing all of Star Wars, philosophy of all of Star Wars and all of Star Trek,
it's just too big. It's just too big.
And we tried to go, when you were doing that, actually, we tried to go to a Hobbit panel later. That was boring. It was like the history of hobbits, but that dude was just like reading from an essay, is what it sounded like. Like he was not taking.
I used that chance
questions
to find an outlet and charge my phone
and play Pokemon Go.
I mean, hey, if you're sitting in one place and you're right on top of a Pokestop, I put some incense up and just sat there because we sat in there for about 30 minutes. But it was one of those things where that dude's voice just in general would have put me to sleep. Like had I laid down, I would have been out.
There was just one guy, he was talking about really boring facts here and there. Some of it was interesting, admittedly. I am a huge Lord of the Rings fan, so that's why I went, but he wasn't taking the room was full, but he wasn't taking
he wasn't letting anybody have any input
participate at all.
And now like panels are cool when they let audience participate.
They're way
now
better.
Too much participation is bad.
You want kind of a mix.
But this dude wasn't taking anything, and we were 30 minutes in. And so we quickly bounced out of there. Both of us got hungry.
Yeah, so we went and got dinner. And then, what'd you do, Troy? You got in line.
After that, I decided, what the hell, I'll get in line for Dragon Sex.
Which is one of the most popular panels, because we actually tried to get into it last year, but the line wrapped around so much, and people were like, yeah, we're in line for Dragon Sex, Dragon Sex. We ended up not going in.
This one was where I was third in line. Second time I was like in the first part.
You got in line
Disclaimer, because I'm realizing all these things makes Troy sound like some sort of sex pervert or something.
Yeah.
Troy is not.
He's really not.
He's like one of the nicest stand-up guys you'll ever meet.
He just goes a little crazy at DragonCon.
Because it's DragonCon, there are no rules.
Those kinky stuff, like some of those panels end up being really fun. Like we did the burlesque show at AWA, and that was pretty fun.
And it's like Dragon Sex. Come on. Everybody wants to know about that
Wouldn't
topic.
you be curious?
I just thought it was going to be... We thought it was kind of going to be a general sex panel.
But this, I'll say to all of y'all listening, and y'all probably might have seen it once, but y'all missed it, or y'all want to go to it next year or something. Unless if you're a reader of writers of...
Whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
Primicia, I think it was. That's what it was mostly about. They warned beforehand, this is going to be about the book series called Riders of Primicia or whatever the heck it was. It's a book series, and I guess there's a lot of freaking dragon sex in it. And that's all they were going to talk about is the book series. They said they were going to talk a little bit about dragon sex, but I didn't want to go through the whole book talk about that. And that is what most of the line is. 80% of that line, or 90% of that line, is probably for the book series followers. And the other 20 or 10%, they're just like, I just heard dragon sex.
I just heard dragon sex. So you ended up not even staying. You're like, no. I don't want to see this.
Because y'all said y'all was going to Anime Get Strippy. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll get into. Yeah.
We got to Anime Get Strippy and it was full. It was a 3-hour panel, so he's like, honestly, you can wait here, and as people leave, you can go in. And he's like, it will happen. But we were like, at that point, we were tired. We were
tired. Home. So Sunday is one of those days where you have to make a decision group-wise whether or not you are going to go hard and just power through and be exhausted the next day, or you call it quits early. So we ended up calling it quits early simply because Troy and I both have work tomorrow. We both have to get up early. So by staying out late last night, we'd end up sleeping in until like crazy amounts of day. There's before can't sleep tonight, and it just would end up being
like
a hot mess.
We walked 32 miles at this point. Like
32. We did the calculations. Over 32 miles.
Because you're always walking.
Over 2,500 calories burned.
It's crazy. Okay. Before we get too ahead of ourselves with the ending of DragonCon, well, Troy was in line for Dragon Sex. We were going to get in line. Glad we didn't. Finding out that. We got lucky, but we made the decision to like, all right, screw Dragon Sex, because we knew we couldn't do both. Let's go to Pokemon Go meetup.
Yes, the Pokemon Go meetup.
And that was pretty fun.
That was in the West End.
It was a huge room on a
It's actually where the Heroes and Villains Ball was the night before.
Big room.
Big.
And that was pretty cool. It was on a Pokestop. That's why they had it there. That was one of the big reasons. But it wasn't just Pokemon Go. It was DS players and cosplayers all alike, which was really cool. We saw another Spark. He was cool. Did a lot of dabs. He was great. We basically just played Pokemon Go the entire time and caught rare stuff. It was kind of chilled. You just kind of did whatever you want. They just we're going to make announcements. They have a contest. Who has the lowest level Pikachu? There's someone with a CP10 Pikachu. Who has the highest Dragonite? There's someone with a 3,000 Dragonite. It was crazy. But we kind of hung out with some Team Instinct people because that's what we do. And
Team Instinct, what's up?
One Valor, who was a douchebag. He was pirate guy. Pirate steampunk guy.
No.
I don't know. He was a douche, though. He was Valor, and he was a douche. He had a Valor flag, and he was waving it around. And we're like, oh, screw you. But so that was fun. We caught a Cubone, caught some Machops, caught a Charmander. So Troy wished he went to that. He kind of messed up. But he didn't know. He thought he was going to be in a fun panel, but it wasn't fun.
Yeah, we're definitely not going to Dragon Sex.
So
ever.
our goal, what we want to do, we want to have a crazy, sexy late-night panel ourselves with this podcast group and have it actually be crazy, fun, and sexy.
Yeah.
So we're working on that. Maybe not DragonCon. That might take a while, but we're going to start at other cons.
You know what? I believe in us because the amount of panels over the cons that we've been to several at this point. There have been some panels we have gone to where we have said, okay, they can do it, why not us?
We know we can do it better than this.
They would be disappointing, and it's like, we could have done that topic better.
Absolutely. And we should do
like
a quiz,
that
quiz panel.
Yeah,
remember that? We went to a really bad quiz panel.
Marvel and Disney.
Yeah, it was Marvel and Disney quiz panel. Oh, that sounds fun. Quiz.
Woo, fun. And it's terrible.
It was trivia. And it was literally who can raise their hand first. That was rough. It was rough. So 20 people, and it was full. The room was full, so it was 20 people raised their hand at the same time. They were giving out prizes, but it was it was impossible. It's way more fun when you can do it with a cell phone and stuff. They got that technology now.
So that's our goal, is eventually end up at DragonCon within the next 2 years.
And it's going to be a crazy panel. What's the name you got right now, babe?
Ducks out for Harambe, because we're not really sure if we can put dicks out for Harambe in the schedule. If we can, it will definitely be dicks out for Harambe. Expect craziness, expect some raunchiness, and expect the unexpected.
Absolutely. There's going to be a variety show. We're going to have some weird performance art and stuff. It's going to be weird. So,
down the rabbit hole you will go.
Absolutely.
So, before we wrap up, everyone's favorite thing about DragonCon.
All right. That's hard. Obviously, meeting Amanda and Jimmy was amazing. But we got to that last year, but it was even more amazing this year. We got great autographs and stuff. So that's probably my favorite is. But honestly, when Cody passed out, I couldn't stop laughing. So that's that was pretty. And the kilt blowing. But I'm gonna say my favorite was Amanda and Jimmy meeting them. But Cody passing out and the kilt blowing were a close second. They're tied for second.
All right, Troy.
Let's see. I guess I'll say the son of whatever phobia, and the I ship it is a very close first. I guess I'll say it's second.
But you like the mixer, you like the singles mixer.
I was a little disappointed in it.
That's okay. We're still going to it next year. You don't have a choice. I think my favorite thing was just getting to full on just embrace everything nerd and geekery and everything that you love all in a course of 4 days, and getting to hang out with the people I love most, get savvy with it. Although I would cut any of you to hang out with Amanda and Jimmy.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, we want to get drinks with them one year. We got to make it happen.
That's a goal. But look out for Broke.as.node con quick tips one of these days.
Yeah, we had a lot more fun this year because we kind of knew what we were doing. It really makes the difference when you kind of
being a COD newbie is great, but there's a couple things that we have learned over the past 2, almost 3 years that we wish would have known.
We go to MomoCon, we go to AWA,
all those different cons, which for all those things we will be doing podcasts for. The next one up is AWA, or AWA, as a friend that we met at DragonCon told us about.
We're going to call it AWA. That's Anime Week in Atlanta. That'll be the end of the month, so me and Troy will be there.
I will not.
One specific tip for DragonCon: download that app and update it before you go, because there were several times I ran into people that I would be like, bring up the thing, bring it up and bring up the map, and they're like, oh,
so that's your tip. That's your tip.
Yeah, that's definitely have that app. Because it's got the schedule, the maps, everything. That app is great. DragonCon app.
DragonCon app. Use the app if they have one of the cons.
You didn't download it. You were one of those people.
I didn't because I was with you the whole time because you won't let me go off by myself. Wear comfortable shoes. Cosplay if you can. Bring a phone charger.
Get ready to get crazy, man.
And just have fun.
Absolutely. Get out there.
So this has been the Broke.as.node DragonCon podcast roundup for year 2016.
Woo!
Great year, great times, great people.
See you next time, guys.
See ya!